Let's welcome in Francis Maxwell to talk a little MLS Cup right here. Wow, what a doozy, what a hard-fought battle in the MLS Cup between Toronto FC and the Seattle Sounders in Toronto for the first time in MLS Cup history. We didn't see any goals, so had to go to a penalty shootout where Seattle ultimately takes down Toronto. How hard-fought was this as you watched this game, Francis, and was it a deserving result, as penalties often are not?
Well, Dylan, the first thing is I'm very blessed to be a soccer analyst, meaning I can do some recaps right here from my family wedding that I was able to still attend and watch the game as long as it was on in a bar. But let's be honest here, Dylan, I could have missed the first 100 minutes of this game and turned up and just watched it in extra time, and I wouldn't have missed much. And I'm a big advocate for the MLS being a growing league that hosts some quality players. But this was not a quality final by all means. I thought that the Seattle Sounders just didn't look aggressive enough throughout the game. I thought that Toronto squandered definitely a few great chances. I think the Sounders owe mostly all of it to Stefan Frei between the net. What a fantastic save he had in extra time to stop Jose Altidore from basically winning the game for Toronto. And then when it goes into penalty kicks, it's literally anyone's game. You could be the best team for 120 minutes. You could have 90% of possession. But when it goes into penalty kicks, having played and participated in many penalty kick competitions, it really is all down to nerves. And I thought that Seattle just looked a team that were actually wanting it. I mean, it was epitomized by Michael Bradley's penalty for Toronto. He's the captain, and he stood up and he just did not look confident. And this is a team that I thought were the better side for the majority of the game. So overall, I think that Toronto were the better team, and I think they'll be hard done by. But when it comes to a penalty shootout, Dylan, it's anyone's game.
You mentioned that Stefan Frei, unbelievable save in the second overtime there. Was that the momentum shift that really turned the tide of the game Seattle's way and kind of gave them confidence once we got the PKs?
Absolutely. I think those are crucial moments when you look back in any game, no matter what league you're playing in, Dylan. When you have a goalkeeper able to pull out heroics like that, especially when a team seems to be peppering your goal, you need something like that in order to get your confidence level up. And at that point, Toronto just looked lifeless. After that clear-cut opportunity, could have struck the back of the net. It could have delivered them the MLS Cup. And Jose Altidore looking for that goal. It was a great bit of work on the right-hand side from Ricketts as well to get the cross in. But at that moment, Seattle looked like they gained a little bit of life. The fans got behind them when they moved into penalty kicks, especially when it goes into PKs, Dylan. That same man is going to be between the sticks, and he looked confident, came up clutch with some big saves, and I really think that was a turning point in this game.
And it's interesting, too. You mentioned the game is in Toronto, a record crowd there to root on Toronto FC, yet Seattle gets the victory. But you said it's not like Seattle looked in top-class form. Yeah. How impressed should they be that, look, they didn't play their A-plus game on the road, looking at a record crowd rooting against them, and they're still able to get this MLS Cup victory?
Well, I think that just epitomizes this Seattle team. I'm specifically impressed with them in the semifinals. I thought that they consistently provided this aura of team chemistry that almost overshadowed their inability to play well at times, because by all means, I didn't think they were good today. I mentioned that. I thought Toronto were the better team. But you've got star players in this squad. You've got the fan base behind Seattle, I think, is the best in the MLS. I think the Northwest poses some of the best football fans, reminiscent of the fans that I'm used to, Dylan, back home in Europe. They really love the sport. They get behind them. And it is reminiscent of Seattle as a whole. You look at how passionate the Seahawks fans are and how they create just a dreadful atmosphere for anyone traveling there. And I think the same sort of fans travel and watch the Sounders. And Seattle deserves this. I mean, it's a sporting city. They've had the Supersonics ripped away from them. They've been looking to try and get that team back. I know that Russell Wilson himself is trying to make some moves to see that happen because he knows how passionate that fan base is. And this will work wonders for that crowd, that loyal fan base that really deserve everything they get. And as far as the luck today, they got the luck. I think that their goalkeeper, again, provided heroics. He's the man of the match for me in between the sticks. But this franchise, this city, this tortured city in terms of a sports franchise, when it came to the past and now moving forward, they deserve the victory.
Some good perspective there on the whole situation going on in Seattle. And you know what? Sometimes you make your own luck when you've got that many screaming fans traveling that distance, waving scarves and such. We know the Sounders, probably the most well-represented team in the MLS Cup. So it's great to see them with a victory.